What's up, guys? Dave, Duncan and Kyle back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. And for this review, Duncan, Kyle and I have been checking out the new album from New Orleans sludge band Crowbar.
Not having that. We've done this before. It's not New Orleans. New Orleans.
Apologies. Accept my apologies. The band's new album, Zero and Below, is out March 4th on MNRK. So, the mighty Crowbar have returned, gentlemen. If you haven't heard the Crowbar at this point, like, where have you been for the last 30 years?
Yeah.
Where exactly?
Answer, Dave, now.
Tell me. Comments. This is album number 12 from
Jesus
this quartet, which follows up their 2016 release, The Serpent Only Lies.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's been that long since a Crowbar album. I felt that album was just like a few years ago.
It's a weird one because he left Down to do that album. He left it. Kurt Weinstein left Down because he wanted to do more Crowbar stuff and be more active. And in the 7 years since they've only put out 2 albums.
Yeah.
That being said, both albums are fucking baller. So
yeah,
we saw them on that tour. We interviewed them on that tour.
Was it though? I thought it was the one before.
No.
Black, was it not?
No. Was it?
I think so.
Was it? That makes me feel even older.
I think so. I don't think it was 2016. I'm sure it was before that.
Was it? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I saw the picture recently and I looked fat. So that's usually I can track it through my fatness.
Right. Okay. Yeah, they like a nicer bunch of guys you would not meet.
Dude was yeah. I would like. I mean, they could have just told us to fuck off. They didn't.
Yeah.
And I will always take that with me.
Yeah. Yeah, they were just like happy to just sit and chat about metal for as long as you wanted. Just really nice guys. So this album production, we have Dwayne Simino, who also worked on the band's 2014 release Symmetry in Black. Yeah, like I was looking forward to this. I love Crowbar, been a fan for a long time. The last album I absolutely loved, so I was definitely hyped to hear this one. I think like one of the main things that I love about Crowbar is just how kind of immediately recognizable they are. Like as soon as you hear that sludgy swagger in the guitars and Kirk's kind of raspy, smoky tone, it's so identifiable, like straight away. And like at more than 30 years into their career, they just know who they are. They know how they want to sound. Even within, like, they've had lineup changes just recently. They brought in a new bassist a few years back, Shane Wesley. But you still get the same kind of high level of songwriting and albums, with riffs that could just like sink a ship. But what about you guys? Like, I know, like, Duncan, you're obviously a fan of Crowbar. Kyle, you been much a Crowbar fan in the past?
Mm-hmm.
Dabbled?
Yeah, since about 2016.
Excellent.
When I got turned into a sludge fan, and it just grew from there. So yes.
Good. Excellent. So, Duncan, let's start with you. What did you think of this one? How did you get on with the album?
This is a fucking baller.
Yes,
fucking absolute baller. The thing about it was, like, you sent me. I don't know why my voice went like that. You sent me. Like, I didn't know they had anything in the works, and I remember you were like, that new Crowbar single, and I was like, I really want to check that out. And I heard it, I was just like, as soon as I heard it, I wanted an album, like straight away. And I fucking love, like, just Crowbar are one of those bands that you just put on and you just, like, it's hard not to just love. That, like, it's not only that they're authentically nice people in real life that just want to chat about metal, but you can hear it in the music. The thing is, like, this far into the career, I don't know how he continues to churn out the riffs he does.
Yeah.
They're all so memorable. They're all, like, every single one of them is just like, that's a fucking great riff. Followed up by another great riff.
Yeah.
And this is the first time, I think, where there's elements on here that kind of really reminded me of the Down kind of sound, like, because he does sound different when he plays on Down than he does in Crowbar. But when you listen to tracks like Chemical Gods, which is the fourth one, I had a big old Down riff, like so much so that I was like, Anselmo, don't let me, no, Anselmo's not here. But they mix those elements in. It's an album which, once again, pacing-wise, switches it up nicely. In the past, some of their albums have been not monotone in the pace, but sticking to a relatively safe range. And this one, they do some songs that are a bit quicker, some that aren't. Kurt's vocals are sounding awesome at the moment. Like 12 albums in, and at the age he's at, his vocals are like a fine wine. There's a nice rasp about them that just continues to just sit perfect with the music. He's a bit deeper than the tuning of the guitar, which if anything should be a little bit detrimental, but I actually think it adds a huge amount of quality and richness to the sound. Yeah. It's gravelly, like the whole thing feels like, the album feels like it was mixed in a cement mixer. They fucking tipped it in there, because it does it like I said to you guys before we started. I was like, we're talking about neon lights, and I was like, let's talk about an album that's grey, because when I think of the colours this paints, it's grey. It's just like walls of, like, you walk into this big grey room and you're just hit with smoke, which is also grey. And everything is grey. But that's, like, grey can be boring to a lot of people, but to me it's an interesting texture that seems to work all the way through this. The drumming, once again, it's fucking solid. Fills are great, a wee bit cheeky at times. The riffs, very much like Eyehategod, we spoke about them last year. The beauty of listening to that is those little flurries that you get every now and again, and Kurt can write them for, there's never a never-ending supply of those as well. And then just when you think you kind of have a handle on where this is going, by the time you get to tracks like Crush Negativity, specifically reanimating a lie, there's still tricks that they're deploying, which are just a little bit different from stuff they've done before, so they've never truly just been, like, complacent. Yeah. It's produced well, it's written excellently, it doesn't necessarily, like, reinvent the sludge wheel by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're talking about the forefathers of sludge, Crowbar are one of them, and the fact that they're still relevant 30 years on, 12 albums in, and all the side projects he's done where he's wrote a huge amount of riffs there as well, is just mind-blowing. The guy was made to play this music, and the band were meant always to have the longevity they've had. I think this is, like, if you're a Crowbar fan, very much like if you're an Eyehategod fan last year, how can you not be excited about this? Like, these bands are still competing at the highest level and delivering albums that dare you not to listen to again. This is 10 songs, 42 minutes, and so easy to keep spinning. And this is one of those ones which, regardless what mood you're in, you shove on some Crowbar. You want to party? Listen to some Crowbar. Pissed off at your day? Listen to some Crowbar. Want to get down the clown? Listen to some Crowbar. it ticks all the boxes, man. I'm a mark for this, and I'll be honest. I when Crowbar's music come in, I'm always going to be a bit biased because I love the fucking band. But this to me eases the any sort of guilt I might have of adding an extra 0.5 because it's Crowbar, because it is that fucking good. So yeah, this is great. Nice.
Kyle, what did you think?
You know what? I got so sucked into this album, I forgot to write too many notes. So basically everything Duncan said. My first note is, in capital letters, taking up half of the note, bass tone.
Yes.
Like, I know they got a new bassist.
There's one song that starts with the bass, and it is the most disgusting fucking bass I've ever heard.
I was noticing it before that song, and then they did that, and I was like, and I melted him into my chair.
It's like it's just like one of those kind of, you like heard it, and I was like, oh yeah, fucking bastard. It's just like licking a lemon, you know, but you're just like, oh.
But you love it. Yep. Like a sweet lemon.
Like a sweet lemon. There's your press quote, gentlemen.
Don't use that as a press quote.
Like a sweet lemon.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. I mean, what else is there to say now? It's more Crowbar, but somehow better than they've ever been. But at the same time, it's the same Crowbar, and I'm like, the production is immense. The dude's vocals are immense. The band surrounding the vocal is immense.
Yeah.
It's just for 30 years on, you think they'd be running out of ideas, but they're clearly not.
He's not a big guy either. He's fucking the power that guy like exudes vocally and riff wise.
Yeah,
it's just mind blowing. Oh, I love him.
Yeah,
so cool. Dave, what did you think of the Crowbar album?
I mean, I totally agree with what you said, Duncan. Like people that say, "Oh, Crowbar they're just a sludge band," it's the same thing over and over again. Fuck those people.
Yeah,
fuck right off.
Crowbar, listen to this album. They have got so much more to the arsenal than people give them credit for. And they prove it time and time again.
Yeah.
For a band that are one of the big NOLA bands, along with Down and Eyehategod, there's so much more to them than just sludge riffs. Listen to this album. They're pulling in moments of doom, you've got groove metal, you've got stoner, there's a smidge of punk and hardcore, a dose of southern metal as well, and melody as well. People forget just how much melody Crowbar bring to the table, both musically and vocally. And once again, Crowbar have kind of neatly wrapped up all of those elements into one release and delivered another powerhouse album. I think this is one of those albums that you kind of get more out of the more you go back to it. I found on my second and third listen, when I heard those, I was picking up on some of those riffs and the vocal hooks. They really started to kind of sear into my head. And those riffs, man, they're just soul crushing.
I mean, you keep it just kind of feels like you could just sit him down and say, "Riff me up, Kirk." And he's like, "All right, okay, here we go. I'll just pull this one at my ass."
How's it?
And it's going to be the best riff you've heard all day. It's just
how
nuts,
has he not
man.
run out of good riffs? How is that possible? They have this knack of being able to turn a kind of normal chord or riff into something colossal. The way they kind of interlay something really sludge laden with a chord that's maybe inverted or a little bit more dissonant, that just really kind of emphasizes the heaviness of it. But there's also there's something quite emotive about the Crowbar sound as well. In amongst the heaviness, they'll weave in something that feels heavier in a kind of emotional way, sometimes that's a cleaner or more atmospheric riff, or Kirk really leans into something more kind of melodic vocally. But track 5, Denial of the Truth, is a great example of that, that kind of haunting vocal that Kirk does so well, but it's combined with more kind of tribal drums, and there's a kind of doomier kind of guitar sound. Very kind of melancholic type track. I thought it was a real highlight on the album, actually. My other two highlights were, it's kind of similar as yourself, Chemical Gods, which is just groove central, such a killer riff, it just kind of sticks in your head. But again, it's also got a kind of bit of a melodic side as well, so I really love the contrast of that. The chorus just feels like Kirk is just kind of emptying his soul out on it. And Reanimating a Lie was another favourite as well, just for the same reasons. It just had a lot of really cool light and shade throughout, but also had punkier kind of tempos in the drumming, something with a bit more pace, and then that big kind of bendy end riff is just the icing on the cake. Very down, a bit of Pantera in there as well, where the little double kicks were kind of just fading out as the track went. I was hold on, that's a bit Vinnie Paul there, which was pretty cool.
Also, they have a chorus on one of their songs, I think it's the name of the song as well, "Bleeding from Every Hole," which is just the greatest lyric. Just I could just picture it, and I don't know, I was getting fucking grim, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, they very rarely disappoint. If you're a Crowbar fan, then this is exactly what you'd want from the band. It's got the weight, it's got the emotion, it's got enough variation, the styles and tempos to kind of keep you engaged, and it's delivered with a killer production. I found this an extremely quick album to listen to.
For its length,
42 minutes, but it feels like it flies in.
Yeah,
which was really cool as well. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought I would from the single they'd released. I was like, yeah, this sounds like it's going to be awesome, and yeah, it definitely was. So what do we think scores for the new Crowbar album? Duncan, what are you thinking?
Like I say, I feel absolutely no shame or bias towards giving it the 0.5 bump that it needs. This is a 4.5 out of 5. This is fucking great. This is a we'll spin this to death this year, and I'm not ashamed to say it. It's just so fucking easy to listen to.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you're not a Crowbar fan, then bye.
Nice. Kyle?
I'm going to give this 4.5 sugar dip lemons.
Your teeth are just going to be tingling, your tongue's going to be, it's just a horrible idea now. Used to get those little jelly sweets at Christmas time that were like lemon wedgies that were just totally, it was like someone had made the most sugar-ridden segment ever and then they gave them to you at Christmas and wondered why you were climbing the walls.
Yeah.
That's why.
Nice. 4.5s. For myself, like Crowbar, obviously, they have some pretty iconic albums. So it's hard to compare this to those albums that have been out for like over 20 years, but I'd say this is top 5 Crowbar albums for me. I think it's very consistent front to back, and I really like that last album, The Serpent Only Lies. I think that album is one of Kirk's best vocal performances, and I think this is very close to that album in terms of quality. Sure, there's no like huge surprises here. It's Crowbar doing what Crowbar do, but if you're a fan of that, then there's a ton to enjoy. So yeah, 4.5. Also, I will agree with you guys on this one as well. So this one drops on March 4th on MNRK. I'll put some links below to the band's Facebook, Bandcamp, pre-orders, all that sort of stuff. Check them out. Let us know what you think. Have a listen to some of those singles. Once you've heard the album, let us know your thoughts and opinions on it. That is the review. Thank you for checking it out. We'll be back with a new review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.